My entire adult life I've been bothered by what I call historical imbalance. The fact that people living both in Canada and the United States know very well the atrocities that Hitler committed, but know very little of what Stalin
was there and some other SS people. And I saw from far that women, all naked, are going between two SS, and there Mengele stands and making right, left, right, left, and with his hand he waved. I didn't know this. Either life, death, life, death. It's very easy.
Auschwitz-Birkenau combined a concentration camp and an extermination camp. The inmates, mostly Jews, had been deported from around Europe and arrived in thousands every day by train. As they stepped from the train, they were sorted by SS doctors. Most of the new arrivals were sent directly to the gas chambers. Many of them were sick, or women and children. The others were herded into the concentration camp, where most of them died. It was during this selection process that Ruth Elias, several months pregnant, came across Mengele for the first time. Unlike most of his colleagues, who regarded the selection as an arduous and unpleasant task, Mengele seemed to appreciate it. Prisoners often saw him smiling or whistling. And yet his subsequent experiments, focusing primarily on twins, had no regard for the health or safety of the victims.
Doctors today, in 2017, don't know why a woman, the egg splits into two, and some women most have one child and some have two. If he could unlock that secret, he was the father of Germany going forward. Every good German mother could have 2 children on every birth and replenish the war debt at a fast rate. It would be, for him...
Could the diplomats be so negligent?
I don't believe there was any corruption, bribery, or that, because there didn't have to be. If you were a German diplomat, politician, doctor, lawyer, or businessman after World War II, 10, 11 years after the end of the war, the one thing that nobody in Germany ever asked anybody else is, what did you do during the war? It was considered a taboo question. 56, he feels so comfortable in this new high life that he has in Buenos Aires. He walks into the West German embassy in Buenos Aires and says, by the way, my name isn't Helmut Greger. That's the name I arrived on here. My name's Joseph Mengele. I'd like a German passport in my real name. Nobody there says, so you arrived here in 1949 under an alias and you wanted to go back to your real name. What's that of? Somewhere in his mind where he thought he could live there as Jose Mengele. And once you are a citizen of Paraguay, they will never send a Paraguay citizenship.
Letters from Siberia. My entire adult life I've been bothered by what I call historical imbalance. The fact that people living both in Canada and the United States know very well the atrocities that Hitler committed, but know very little of what Stalin did. And the scope and size of Stalin's atrocities far exceed that of Hitler. That's always bothered me. Just the historical imbalance. The justice imbalance is even bigger. Right after World War II, the Nazi perpetrators of death and destruction were apprehended. The Nuremberg trials took place. They were sentenced. And this apprehension, trials, and sentencing still continues till today. With regard to the terror that was produced by Stalin and his henchmen, not one single person has been held accountable so far. More so, there is a risk of recurrence of Stalinism. History has a tendency to repeat itself, especially if you forget it. Throughout the entire Soviet Empire, there are areas and pockets where Stalinism is very popular. There are areas in China, the same thing is taking place. And in countries such as North Korea, it's run on a Stalinist principle. It can recur, it can come back. And it's so important to realize the pain and suffering that these kinds of ideologies can produce.